Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dan Wynn and welcome to the Financial Freedom Journal. Today, I'm going to be covering my very first deal. I'm going over the deal breakdown. Now, this is going to be a two-part video. The first part of the video, I'm going to be covering the actual breakdown of the video. The way I'm going to be covering that is through the BRRRR strategy. If you watch any of my other videos, I've covered this topic a few times before, and basically the way I'm gonna break it down for you is using the BRRRR method: the buy, the renovate, renting, refinance. I'll give you a quick summary, and then lastly I'll hit the repeat, and that's going to be the first part of the video. So in the second part of the video, I'm going to be covering the major keys that have really helped me succeed in executing not just this deal, but the other deals that I've done as well. And with that, let's go ahead and get into this video.
The property before it was even ready, and I would have had a tenant move in immediately as soon as they managed it.
So,
Daddy.
You say hi?
Hi.
Yeah. We are talking about houses.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're talking about houses, buddy. Do you want to buy some houses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at the ones that I really wanted to buy when I'm a grown up.
Yeah, you looked at some houses you really want to buy when you're a grown up.
Yes.
Yeah, we go and we drive by and we look at houses all the time, don't we? Yeah. And we talk about it a little bit. What do you know about buying houses, buddy? What do you like to do, buddy? Yeah? Let's play in the car with that.
Hey, before we begin, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button down below. I really appreciate that. Also, please follow me on Instagram. I am on Instagram now. I know it took me like 7 years, but I'm finally on IG. My tag is @DanWynREI. It'll probably be somewhere up on the screen as well. So moving right along into the buy portion. First, find the deal. I found this deal by going online and doing a lot of online searches. At the time when I did this, I was stationed at Fort Stewart, Georgia, and I wanted to buy in Jacksonville, Florida. It's kind of where I grew up at. So, and I got a lot of family there as well. So, I was looking online. I probably went through at least a couple hundred different single-family homes that met my criteria. I then analyzed those deals. I probably analyzed, out of the 200, I maybe analyzed like 150 of them. If it shook out, if it made sense, if the numbers are right, then I would drive down on the weekend or whenever I could, I'd drive down and I'd drive the neighborhood to see if it still met my criteria. So after I probably drove to about 50 to 75 homes, I stuck with probably about 25 homes, and I wrote deals on about 20. I wrote offers, on about 25 homes. A couple of them stuck, and I went with the best one. I really only had enough money for one, so I went with the best one. Into building the team, I didn't do that great of a job on it, to be honest. This was my first deal, and I was still trying to figure things out. I was still green and trying to figure out who exactly I needed on the team and why I needed them. So I didn't have an attorney. My wife was in law school, so I was like, hey, I'll just have her look at the contracts. I didn't have an accountant at the time, so I was like, I'm pretty money savvy. I'm pretty savvy on when it comes to certain things, so I think I can probably figure that piece out myself. The realtors, I contacted a bunch of realtors, and for those of you who don't know, like when it comes to investing, 90% of realtors are absolute garbage. They have no idea what they're doing. One quick indicator to tell if that realtor knows what they're doing as far as what an investor would be looking for and how to help an investor, one quick indicator is just asking them if they have any rental property. If they don't have any rental property, you might as well assume that they don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to investments. I say 90% because 90% of realtors out there, they're only used to the cookie cutter deals. When I say cookie cutter deals, people that are buying their first or second home. So they're really easy with that. When it comes to analyzing a deal for return on investment or trying to guess how much a rehab would be or things like that, they're trash. They don't know what the hell they're doing. So that's that. Sorry for all the realtors out there, but yeah, it's true. And if you ask any investor or any high producing investor friendly realtor, they'll tell you the same exact thing. So my contractor, I kind of lucked up with that. I used one of my very, very good friends that we wrestled in high school. So quick story. I was doing this. I was going back and forth to Jacksonville looking at homes and things. I went to a gas station. I filled up my car and I ran into a guy I hadn't seen in over 10 years. Hadn't seen him since high school, since we wrestled together. And we got to talking. He was in, it looked like he would just had painted a home or just rehabbed a home. And I was like, yeah, man, that's cool. He was like, he had just came from Tampa and he was like, yeah, I run projects out there. I do, construction and I do a lot of renovations out there. And I was like, no crap, dude. Like, I'm looking for my first home right now, my first rental property. I linked up with him that way and I just kind of lucked out and we actually did that deal together. And I had a lot of trust in him because, I knew him from high school and he's a good guy. Shout out to Stefan Alvarez. Hey, what's going on if you're watching this? So funding the deal. I actually did a video on this. You'll see it posted at the top of the screen somewhere. This took a long time. It took like 3 years and some change. I graduated from college. I didn't have any money. I was relatively debt free for the most part, but my wife and I really had to change the way that we thought about money. We changed our mentality, changed the way we thought about money, and we changed the way we perceive wealth. So a lot of people perceive wealth by the tangible things that you can see, the really tangible liabilities that they see, like cars and clothes and what they have on their wrists, things like that, instead of actually looking at the assets that they have, the things that are bringing them money, the amount of money that they have in those assets. So we had to change what we thought about money, and we did that. We were able to save about 35 to 40 G's, being very, very dedicated and disciplined in our saving habits, and again, changing our mindset and what we thought about money. So that that amount of savings mixed with some credit cards that we had, that was pretty much our source of funding this deal. So I bought the deal cash, bought it cash for $25,500. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, and about 1,300 square feet. It's in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a nice little area, nice little neighborhood. Funny story, I had the notary and my realtor meet me at a McDonald's in Brunswick because I didn't have the time to drive all the way to Jacksonville. I wanted to close like as early as possible, so we pretty much got our schedules together. We met halfway between Savannah and Jacksonville, and I bought this home at a McDonald's in Brunswick, Georgia. So yeah. So the renovation, I ran into some problems right out the gate. Someone drove up in a white van. They pulled in the driveway. The neighbors didn't know they weren't supposed to be there. These guys went around the back, broke in the back door. They stole the AC system outside and then also the AC handler inside. So they completely stole my entire AC system. Kind of sucked, right out the gate. A couple days after having the property, somebody hit me for about $2,500. I wasn't really expecting that, but I guess it's part of the game. Another problem I had was just the distance. Now, it doesn't seem like that long from Savannah to Georgia. It's about an hour and a half. But I really wanted to be as involved as possible with this being my first true rental property, and I wasn't able to do that as well as I could. But I did have family and friends that were there that really did a lot for me. I couldn't have done this project without them being there. Like I said, my family's from Jacksonville, and then I also had my really good friend Stefan Alvarez managing the project and making sure everything was going smoothly. He managed all the subs, and he really did most of the work himself. If you need a contractor in Jacksonville, actually he's in Tampa now. If you need a contractor, hit me up. I know a good guy. So it took 3 months to renovate this property. I bought it in April. It was done in July, and it took like 3 weeks, three weeks and some change to actually get a tenant in place. I had a tenant in place by August the 1st. So the renovation cost, it cost me $28,000 it was like 27 and change, but it was like $28,000 to renovate this property. So moving right into the rent. I got Dan the PM because PM stands for property manager. I tried to manage the property. The reason why it took so long, I say so long, it took like 3 weeks, it took almost a month for me to actually get a tenant in place. And a lot of that was due to me trying to save money on property management, save the 10% on property management, and doing it myself. So I was trying to, I put an ad on Zillow, and then I was answering phone calls and doing things like that. And I just wasn't really well suited for it. I thought I might be able to do some of it, but it just really wasn't working out for me. So I went ahead and found a property manager. I interviewed a bunch of property managers and finally stuck with one. They took 10% of my rental income, so it was about like $90. And one quick note is listing before you're ready. One thing that would have helped me out a lot is if I had a property manager midway through renovation. If I had decided on a property manager midway through renovation, they could have listed the property before it was even ready, and I would have had a tenant move in immediately as soon as they managed it. So I rented the property for $900 a month. Moving into the refinance portion, I had some lender issues at the beginning. I didn't think it was going to be that hard for me to find a lender so I can do a cash out refinance. Again, I was trying to use this burst strategy. I knew that I was going to refinance the home, and I waited until probably I was about 90% done with the renovation to start looking for lenders to do the refinance. I talked with one lender and they pretty much just wasted my time. I went through the entire process with them. I told them everything about the home, and that after I paid for an appraisal, they basically said, "Oh, we can't do this because your home isn't seasoned long enough." Like, you knew that I bought the home 3 months ago. So if you don't know what seasoning is and why it's important with refinancing your home, usually most banks want you to own your home for at least 6 months to a year prior to them refinancing the mortgage. So that was my issue here. I didn't own the home for more than 6 months. So this particular company, they just drug me through the whole entire process. It took like 3 weeks. I wasted 3 weeks of my life, and they couldn't secure the loan because it wasn't seasoned for 6 months. I actually ran into that issue a lot of times. One, because of the season, and then two, because of just my experience. I hadn't done, this is my first deal. I hadn't done it before. So all that said, my first refinance wasn't super great. I didn't get great terms, but I got the deal done. The appraisal came back for $101,000. I did a 65% cash out refinance. What that means is they basically write a new mortgage for 65% of what the appraised value of that home is. So 65% of $101,000 is $65,650, and that is the new mortgage that gets written for this property. The terms that I got was a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage on a 30-year amortization schedule, and it was 8.5% interest. Now, I realize you're probably like, damn, 8.5. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So just for those of you who don't know, if you've never done rental properties before, usually you're looking at about 6 to 7% off rip just for having a rental property, for it not being your primary residence. With this lender, they just charged me an extra $1.50 basically. So it was 8.5% interest on a 5-to-1 prepayment fee. And what that means is I have to pay 5%, or I had to pay 5% if I sold the home within 5 years. And then it would decrease to 4% if I held it for a year, 3% if I held it for 2 years, 2%, and just goes on and goes forward. So basically, at the end of the 5-year term, if I held onto the property for 5 years, then I wouldn't have to pay a prepayment penalty fee. And it's just a way for lenders to get extra money. So it is what it is. That was the only way that I can pretty much get the deal done during that time, and that's what I did. So usually the last R is repeat, but I'm going to give you the summary, the so what numbers really quick. So the purchase and reno was $53,500. Did a cash out refi. After the closing costs and things like that, I got $63,700 back. You subtract the two, I made $10,200 off the refinance. So why that's important, I still had 35% equity within the deal. I made $10,000 plus all of the money that I put into it. So I got all that cash back. I felt like a G, actually. I felt like it was pretty amazing seeing like $63,700 deposited in my account, like just sitting there. It was pretty cool. So I made all my money back, and then I made $10,200 on top of that. My PITI, my new mortgage, my principal, interest, taxes, and insurance was $715. So my new mortgage is basically $715 a month. My expenses, and that's basically my property management fee, and then also any other. Basically, I calculate 5 to 10% for repair fees. So I came up to $140 a month, and then my rental income, $900 a month. After you subtract all my PITI, my debt service, and then also my expenses, you got $45. So I was bringing in about $45 a month, which isn't that great. But remember, I had no money in this deal. I had absolutely zero money in this deal. I made $10,000. I'm making $45 a month, and then I also have 35% equity still left in this deal. The loan balance, going over after I sold the home, the loan balance, I owned it for about a little over 2.5 years. The loan balance was $62,400. The closing costs were about $8,500. Prepayment penalty fee was $3,000. The sale price was $97,000. I took home $23,100 after I sold this home. So I know some of these numbers look kind of low. You're like, well, why'd you sell it for $97,000 when it was worth $101? Man, I got a lot of offers on this. I probably could have sold it for like $110. The reason why I sold it for such a low price is because I had a tenant in place. And the only people that are willing to buy a home with a tenant in place are investors. And investors always want a deal. So I had to give them more equity in the home. So the home was worth like $110. Literally like a couple weeks ago, the home was worth like $110, $115, I think. And I sold it for $97, giving the new investor money left in the deal. I really wanted to offload this property as fast as I could because I'm doing something else right now, which I'll announce later. I wanted to get the cash out and so I can reuse it. And then also, I think there's going to be a real estate crash. I think there's going to be a market correction here soon. So I didn't want to play around with it. I'd rather just take my money now. So $23,100 what I walked away with. If you add up $23,100, $10,200, and then also the rental income I made off of 30 months worth of owning this property, that gives me a grand total of $34,650. So all in all, this is what I made off of this deal. And it's what I made off this deal. My return on investment was infinite. The reason why it's an infinite return on investment because I made all of my money back when I did the refinance. Going on to the repeat section, I basically used all this money and I put it into a 4-unit deal. I did another video on this as well. You can see the link right above. The video is called 12,000 Passive Income, how I make $12,000 passive income or something along those lines. All right, so like I said, I'm making this a 2-part video and I'm just gonna go ahead and end it here since I've already covered the first portion. In the next video, like I said, I will be covering the major keys that helped me succeed in this deal and then also the other deals that I've done as well. So if you haven't done so already, please do me a favor. If you're finding value in these videos that I'm putting out, if you're finding value in the information that I'm putting out, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, and that's it for now. I'll see you in the next video. Dan Wynn signing out.